The town of Coventry, Rhode Island presents the Coventry Substance Abuse Prevention Task Force video series. We're working together for a healthy community.
My name is Medeiros. I'm a police officer with the Coventry Police Department. I'm also one of the instructors for CPR and an array of other things. Obviously, we're here to discuss a major epidemic and what we're doing to combat it. Obviously, like the doctor said, it's a growing concern for not only the state of Rhode Island, but the country. Just recently on Mother's Day, we had an overdose where a gentleman decided he was going to consume a narcotic, and he happened to do it a month after his previous overdose. And the doctor talked about how the public can use and purchase Narcan. There's many different forms of Narcan out there as far as the deployment method. And this gentleman happened to just use it, and his family happened to have what the hospital had provided them. The hospital provided a Narcan unit similar to what we carry in our patrol cars. After they realized that he was going into an overdose, they deployed the Narcan and was able to revive him. The sad part is that he had overdosed a month prior and had used his deceased brother's ID to cut the narcotic up and ingest it. His deceased brother had passed away a year earlier from an overdose. So this is obviously something that we're seeing directly in our community. Several years ago, I firsthand encountered a double overdose. We responded for an unresponsive male in the driveway. We get there, he's blue. His girlfriend's running around frantically. Rescue starts to revive the gentleman in the driveway, try to separate the girlfriend from the situation, and I'm speaking with her up in her apartment. As I'm speaking with her, she's doing what we call the nods. She's nodding off. So I start to tap her and say, what's going on? Are you on something too? She just rambles about Christmas tree shop. We weren't talking about Christmas tree shop. We were talking about what was going on outside. We just happened to be at the right place at the right time, because 2 minutes later, she ended up turning blue and becoming completely unresponsive. I ended up administering CPR for about 2 minutes while a second rescue came into the scene. The rescue brought Narcan and administered it, and within 3 minutes, she was sitting up in her living room. Both of them were transported to the hospital. 2 weeks later, we respond back to the same residence for this female's boyfriend. He wasn't so lucky a second time. So this is obviously something that's reoccurring with these same individuals. So as the doctor discussed, you can go out and you can purchase this stuff. And if you do know somebody who has an issue, who has a problem, and you recognize it and you can't get them the help that they need willingly, at least protect them, and at least know that you're going to be able to protect them in case of an incident. Colonel McDonald talked about the readiness and the training that we go through at the Coventry Police Department. Every one of our officers is experienced and trained in CPR, and we're trained in administering Narcan. Every one of our police units, as well as what we call area bags, contain an AED, a little Narcan kit, a CPR mask, and we're ready to use it at any time. We train often. We're not expecting to use it, but we know that if I pull up to a call and I'm talking with somebody and I'm noticing that they're starting to act irrational, their lips are starting to turn blue, they start to nod off and then become unresponsive, those are the tall tale signs of a possible overdose. So if I might not necessarily have this in my pocket, I know that it's in my vehicle, and I can have another officer bring it into the residence or bring it to the scene and make it readily available. A lot of times police officers are the first ones on scene. It might take several minutes for a rescue to arrive. Citizens of Coventry should feel comfortable or should appreciate the fact that we are ready to save a life and give them a second, third, fourth, fifth chance if they need it. That's pretty much it. I know we're going to do a demonstration in a couple of minutes, so I'll save the rest of my lecture, I guess, for the demonstration purposes. Okay. As we discussed earlier, there are many different forms of Narcan out there, many different deployment methods. One that we use here, I'm going to show you right here. In this packet comes the actual vial of drugs, or excuse me, vial of Narcan, the applicator, and the nasal piece. When I mentioned that you were going to use half of the vial, on the vial, if you see here, there is 2 milliliters of the Narcan. When you administer into the first nostril, you're going to administer 1 milliliter of the Narcan, roughly. When you transition to the second nostril, you're going to complete the actual 2 milliliters into the second nostril. So 1 milliliter in one nostril, the second milliliter in the other nostril. My name is Officer Medeiros, and I'm with the Coventry Police Department. As we've been discussing today, the narcotic use in the state of Rhode Island and overdoses has become an epidemic. We also discussed what the Coventry Police is doing to help save people's lives. Police work has evolved over the years, and now we're finding more that we're doing multiple different things. One of them is now going to be administering drugs. Members of the Coventry Police Department are trained in CPR, the use of an AED, and administering Narcan. What I'm going to show you is what we actually carry in our vehicles. Our officers are issued little opioid kits, okay? In those kits, we have our Narcan unit. We have the actual drug. We have a syringe. And we have a nasal applicator. So what I'm going to demonstrate today is actually how to use the Narcan on an unresponsive patient. So we're going to assume that this person is unresponsive. What we're going to do is we're going to check the level of unresponsiveness. Hello, are you okay? A little shake. Do maybe a little sternum rub right in the middle of the chest. Use your knuckles. Just get right in here, rub real hard. If they're not coming to, you want to look at several of the other things that are indicators of a possible overdose. Their lips are going to be turning blue. Their fingertips are going to be turning blue. They're going to have shallow breathing or labored breathing, if they're breathing at all. If they're not breathing, then you would administer CPR. If you don't have this Narcan kit, you would administer a cycle of CPR and contact 911 immediately. If you do have Narcan, what I would suggest is administering CPR right away if they're not breathing. Then take the time to actually open the Narcan unit. You're going to take off the yellow piece in the back. That's going to expose a little needle here. You want to be careful for that. You're also going to take off the yellow tip. You want to screw in the nasal applicator here. And you want to take the top off the vial of Narcan, just like this. And you always want to use your fingers. You don't want to use your teeth or anything like that, because the chances of you breaking the glass that the drug is actually held in could break. Then what you want to do is you want to simply put in the drug into the applicator here and twist until it's met with resistance. What what you also want to do is just let out a little bit, just to make sure it's getting through the actual unit. Once that's done, what you want to do is you want to stick the nasal applicator right in the nose here, and you want to push. You want to give about half of the vial. Each vial is marked, and we'll show you that in a minute. So you want to apply half of the vial in one nostril, move to the other nostril, and administer the other half. Once that's done, if the person's not breathing, you're going to want to administer CPR again until you start to see them gain consciousness. Sometimes it only takes 2-3 minutes, sometimes instantly. When they do regain consciousness, you do want to be careful that they don't come out of it combative. You want to talk to them, kind of explain to them what's been going on, and reassure them that they're going to be okay. You have to make sure that you contact emergency medical services or your police department when this occurs, when you administer the Narcan, when a person is overdosing. We are simply here to help people combat their addiction or to give them a second chance at life. That's our main goal, is protecting life. So don't be afraid to call the police. Don't be afraid to call the fire department and get your friend, your family member, your loved one the help that they need.
The Coventry, Rhode Island Substance Abuse Prevention Task Force would like to thank the following speakers who have contributed to this video series. For additional information and guidance regarding substance abuse prevention and treatment, please contact the following resources.